Hey everybody, it's Doug here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a channel update for April 2020. I haven't done one of these in quite some time, so I thought I'd dive in and share some upcoming things with all of you on what's going on at the channel, and also talk about the conclusion of the Sanctum giveaway that I have kept open. Kind of waiting to see with that. I was anyway, kind of waiting to see where our ability to get out and ship things easily would basically uh, get back to normal, right? So I've been waiting a little bit to see. So the contest is still open. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but what we're going to talk about a bunch of things today. A couple of them are going to be these things right here. So we're going to talk about what I'm playing right now, which I appreciate all those that are currently watching the current playthrough. And then we're going to talk about what I got coming up on the channel. I got lot to talk about here. There's a lot coming up and some things I want to do. And sometimes I get these pie in the sky notions, and then life takes over, and kids and work and all that kind of crazy stuff. Like, it just gets a little tough. But I do have plans for the channel to continue to enhance this and continue to support the community, and I want to take it in some different, more interesting ways in some regards. We'll see how this goes, but we'll talk about that. And then, as part of that, I want to talk about role playing on the channel. As you know, I play a lot of story driven games. It's because my roots are in role playing games, right? Um, I have always been, since I was a youngster, GM for playing D&D, various other role playing games. One of my favorites, Champions. I mean, you name it. Warhammer Fantasy. Um, all kinds of stuff, played and game mastered. I want to get back to some of that in my life. I haven't done really any of it. And The couple times I was able to dive in, it was very short and brief. And it's mainly about time, but I need to carve out the time because this is something I've always enjoyed in my life. And I keep trying to eke it into my board games. So we'll talk about this in some detail as well. And then at the end, we're going to talk about the Sanctum giveaway, and I'm going to give you an update on that. So let's dive in and continue on. Right now, let's talk about what I am playing. So I've been playing. I'm on Chapter 2 of Tainted Grail: The Fall of Avalon, and while admittedly, like all things, like all of us that do these videos, I get a little stumbled up on the combat occasionally. The combat is very complicated. Um, Take it back. The combat is complex. It's not that hard rules wise to figure out. It's pretty straightforward, but there's so much subtlety and nuance in how and when you play cards, and it's hard always to keep track of that and the alignment of the abilities on the cards. So anyway, I've been playing this, but the story is phenomenal. And again, I'm all the way in the middle of chapter 2. I'll probably take it up to the end of chapter 2 and take a break, and that'll be our season 1 of Tainted Grail. I will return to it not that far off in the future to do chapter 3 and maybe continue on till the end of the game. We'll have to see. I just don't know. But we've been enjoying that. We've been playing with a couple of different characters. So we got Bior. He's kind of one of the main fighters. He's a smith, a really neat character. I like him a lot. He's got a hidden past, this weird past where he's got a festering wound in his side that continuously plagues him. Then we have Aaliyah. Now she was the mentor, or she was mentored by the local herbalist, healer, etc. And that's kind of what she is. But she's a bit of a loner. She doesn't play as well with others. However, she's gained quite a reputation in our playthrough as being a phenomenal healer and a hero, basically. She's got a massive reputation going on, while the other two are more brutish, especially in the form of Bior, who basically likes to swing his big hammer at everything. She's much more subtle and able to deal with diplomatic endeavors, etc. And then that's her. And then somewhere in between we have a Rev, and a Rev is definitely he's like an ex-mercenary. He's came here to hide from his past, right? And so these three are adventuring together throughout the lands of Avalon, and we've had some really cool adventures. Like right now, spoiler alert. Okay, he's carrying the scabbard of Excalibur on him, which has some special properties, and we're trying to make our way to Camelot right now. We're getting close. We're almost there. Now we'll find out what happens when we get there. Probably nothing good, but that's the way it is. So that's the Rev. He's a really neat character, and I like him a lot. I love the storytelling that goes into these. And like some of the entries say, if you have this character, then do this, which is cool. And a lot of different abilities and things happening, a lot of different creatures to encounter, a lot of different stories to tell. Very, very well done. if you're not playing this game, I highly recommend it. If you're not going to, and you just want to see the story unfold, watch my playthrough. I think I'm on episode 7 or 8. I've filmed, I think, 10 episodes total. So it's pretty cool. Get on that. Watch Tainted Grail: The Fall of Avalon on my channel, and I'm sure you can find it on other channels as well. But hope you watch it on mine. All right. Next up, I was gonna talk about what is coming up on the channel. So we're gonna do that. So a couple things I have in the bag is Forgotten Waters, which is a Plaid Hat Games game. Kind of role playing esque. There is a solo version of it. I don't know how I'm going to play that yet because I think in watching and reading it, you kind of get the full story, the full scope of it when you play multiple characters. And I know I always uh, give myself the harder challenge, and that's definitely what this one would be. The other one is D6 by Certifiable Studios. D6 Dudes, Dungeons, and something or other. Anyway, it's a fun, lighthearted, competitive, but there is a co-op and solo version of this game as well. Kind of like role-playing esque D&D style board game. There's even some role-playing elements to it, but mostly it's a board game of going out and hunting monsters for their hides and gaining points, right? But it's wrapped up nicely in a really cool role-playing game style board game. Really awesome box. I probably need to do an unboxing of that and show you what that looks like. It's pretty slick. That is D6. Then I got Batman. It's actually Batman the animated series, just a very long title. Gotham Under Siege. I have that to get to the table too. I really like that game. It hasn't made it to the table yet. I got so many games actually, even beyond these ones I'm going to share with you here, that I need to get to the table, but there's just one of me, and so it's a little hard to do. But we'll get there. Next up, Starcadia Quest. I got the Kickstarter for that, and it is in. And while it is not cooperative in any way, it's still an easy game to play. There's no like hidden cards or anything like that. It's all on the table, so it's not like I have to try and pretend like I don't know what the other side is doing, things like of that nature. But that's from Come On, and one in the same line as Arcadia Quest and everything, which are great games. I've played the heck out of those. They're fun little competitive games, not too hard, but they're definitely a gotcha, take that type style game. By the way, so is D6. If you play competitively, there's a lot of gotchas in it, um, as players go. So you need a little thicker skin with some of these games because you're really going at each other. But not like Blood Rage or what's the other one? The one set in Egypt, Kemet. Man, that game was brutal. Everybody's like always after each other. It reminds me of going back and playing Diplomacy, where people actually stopped talking to each other over that game. That was silly, but it was so you just turn on each other so badly it just feels personal. And then I got so this is a cool one. Now this was in kind of in the vein of me thinking about role playing on my channel, and I'm a big fan of Steve Jackson games. I played the heck out of Wizard and Melee, and um, other games associated with this as it sprung other games out. But they relaunched it on a huge Kickstarter, and I did get that. It's the Fantasy Trip. I also got the Fantasy Trip, the Decks of Destiny. I got those two. I've been really dying to get that to the table and the channel. I'm not clear on how I want to do that yet, so I'm still working on it. There is ways to play it solo, and I'll probably do that. But it's got quite a few rules to it too, and I know that's going to be an easy one to screw up. Even though fundamentally it's pretty simple, it's just making sure you get it as right as possible. But that's the Fantasy Trip. So if you haven't seen that, go look it up. It's really cool. It's by Steve Jackson Games. You can play it as like kind of a board game style game, or you can play it as a full-on RPG with advancement and everything else. It's really slick. You need to in the labyrinth, but that comes in the new Fantasy Trip box that you can get from that was Kickstarted. I don't know if it's available in retail, but it's definitely out there somewhere. Then I got a Spirit Island, a digital version. I was about to dive into it. Then I started watching some other playthroughs and realized that it's early release, guys, and it's got some bugs like cards aren't working and stuff. There's nothing more frustrating than trying to play a game with you all online and have it not work. So I know it will work, and it's a beautifully done game, and most of it works right now in the early access stages. But you have to realize that with early access, there's going to be bugs and things that go wrong. So I'm not sure I'm going to get to that one anytime soon, but it is on the list. And then I have Charterstone Digital too. This is an interesting one. I thought about maybe gathering some folks to play it. I still am thinking of that, by the way. But play it online and play it on the channel with a bunch of other people, which would be fun. But I'm finding that I played the board game some. We didn't finish it. We always get these types of games, never finish them as a group. But I find that the digital version is actually harder to play than the board game. I understood the board game version rules better, even though they're the same rules. It just seems, maybe because I hadn't played Charterstone in a while, it seems harder. And I certainly wouldn't want somebody who had no exposure to the original board game to dive into this without some explanation. It's kind of hard. So I may get to, these are kind of maybes on both of these, to be honest with you, but I put them on the list just to get some feedback from you guys. So what do you want to see? That's what I'd like to know. Plus, there's other games. You can throw them out there. I may or may not have them. And if you really wanted to get it to the table and you got a copy, you can shoot me even temporarily. I'd be happy to do that. But if there's games you don't see that I list here, which there will be, let me know. And then on the digital front, also Subnautica Below Zero. I did a little preview of that, but it was in early access then, and it's come a long way. So I did a full series. If you haven't watched it, please do, because it was a fun series of just Subnautica, the original one. I did an entire 30 episode series of that from start to finish, and I want to do the same thing with this one because it's just a fun game. And if you don't have it, I think it was on sale on Steam for $20 or something like that. The original Subnautica. It's just one of the most enjoyable digital like survival type games I've played. Now, when I put these digital games on my channel, I kind of have this criteria in my head of what they need to be because then they'll be more relatable to the board game community. So either board game adaptions, like for example, Gloomhaven, when that gets to the full release of the full campaign, I'm going to bring that back and play it again. I just want to play the campaign on the channel. So I'm waiting for that. I did do a couple episodes of it, but I'm going to wait. Darkest Dungeon, one of my favorite games ever, is so much like a board game that it plays really well. That type of game, or games that are like survival type games, like that have this board game feel. That's why I play Conan Exiles, because it has this base building survival aspect to it. Even though it is definitely a video game, it's got that slant. So does Subnautica, and that's one of the reasons I like it. And I'm playing another one right now, which we'll talk about shortly. So, what am I going to continue to play? Well, or what's new? Let me just state more, right? Weekly role playing game. I want to get to that. I'm going to talk about that in a separate segment next. Okay. And don't forget that this ends with a discussion of a giveaway. So please hang in there. The other one I want to play, I haven't decided if this is going to. It's probably going to take the place of one of the two, Spirit Island or Charterstone. Is Sentinels of Freedom, which is based on the Sentinels of the Multiverse IP, but in more of a digital, like turn-based combat, XCOM style, almost kind of sort of XCOM style game play of superheroes, which I love. And I thought for some reason I thought that you would not be able to originally build your own character, but as it developed, you can. So what's cool is you get to play with the Sentinels of the Multiverse character, but you also get to build your own character. I've played some of it. It's fun. It's a really fun little game. I don't know how little it is, but it's fun, and I'm enjoying it immensely. So I probably will bring that to the channel. However, it really is just a tactical board game. I played XCOM. I mean, I would play XCOM on this channel because this definitely feels like a board game. In fact, there's been board games made of it. Not all my favorite. I do like the one from Fantasy Flight Games, the real-time one, enough. But it's still, they could have. I still think there's more that can be done with that IP. But Sentinels of Freedom will probably get on the channel. And then I'm playing State of Decay 2, the Juggernaut edition. I will play more of that. I'm not really playing a ton of it because there's so many other things I have that are board game related to get to the table. But as we're all on lockdown, some of these things are easier to get to the table now than others. And of course, I'm going to continue to showcase other digital games. Conan Exiles will come up again and again and again because that's just awesome. And I was even thinking about getting some YouTubers together, maybe to play some Sentinels of the Multiverse online. Maybe Pathfinder, the card game. I don't know if you can play that multiplayer. I don't remember. But there are plenty of games like Spirit Island. We can play that online when it gets a little more stable. And there's things, and of course, there's Tabletop Simulator and Tabletopia that give us a cornucopia of different games that we can play digitally. And I'd like to play some of them with you too. If you ever want to do that, just reach out to me. I'd love to get online and play some games with people from time to time. Um, that'd be kind of a new experience. I've got to figure out how to get on the channel right. I haven't really done a lot of that, but it's not that hard. And then, of course, there's another giveaway associated with one of these other games. I'm going to keep that a secret, but keep watching because it's coming relatively soon, depending on how the game plays, which one of these games I roll out next. So that's what's kind of coming up right now. But one of the big ones that's coming up is RPGs on the channel. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I've been kind of eking into it slowly because you got to get versed with the technology of things. And I built a couple campaigns in Roll20, and I just trying to see how they go. But the first off, I want to do some one shots, and these are going to be more simple, like low prep or no prep one shot RPGs. Some of these, and I've gathered a couple of them, are so fun, and I'm going to keep a little lid on what that's going to look like right now. But I have a question for you all on this in a moment. One shot, so I'm not going to mention names because then I'll blow it, because these are the ones that are top of mind. But I do want to do this soon, like really soon, like within the next month soon. And have a good long one shot RPG session where we get to really flex those role playing game muscles, and I get to play characters and personalities and things like that, which I enjoy a lot. Then I also have I've been prepping a Midderlands. By the way, Midderlands is an OSR based game, meaning it can be really played with any system, but it's meant to be played with OSR games, which is old school role playing ones that are games that are most like the old school Dungeons and Dragons. I think it's based on some sword and I want to say sword and sorcery, but I don't know if that's it. I have it all. I have it all set. I've been reading, making sure I got the rules down and everything. But this is a really good one. Uh, really lends to a lot of interesting role playing elements of it. And Midderlands is basically a fictional version of England. If you want to check that out, go check it out online. It's really cool. And I'll probably, that's one of the ones that's really high on my list, because a lot of role playing opportunity there, a lot of it. And then Pathfinder Second Edition, I have a whole campaign built for that. I built the whole campaign. I was planning on running it face to face with some friends. I was ready. I'm ready to go. I have it all done. It's done. It's set up, and it's going to be in the world, in the same world that I had published, that was nominated for an EN award, one of the first EN awards, against Forgotten Realms. And of course, we lost to Forgotten Realms, but we were competing against them, and we're in the running against that setting. And that was my Hunt Rise of Evil campaign setting that we did for D20. I have adapted it for, well, mostly adapted enough for Pathfinder Second Edition, which, by the way, is more like what we used to play than the Fifth Edition Dungeons and Dragons. So I'd probably lean more toward Pathfinder. I think it's I just like the rule set a little better than 5e, uh, though I like Fifth Edition Dungeons and Dragons a lot as well. But Pathfinder Second Edition is one of the ones on my list, and I've been thinking about translating that into online role playing experience, which would be a heck of a lot of fun. And if you don't know anything about the Hunt Rise of Evil, you can still get copies of it out there in the world. It's on RPG, uh, whatever that store is. You know what I'm talking about. Um, yeah, it's out there, available on various stores, locations. You can get it on the Samurai Sheepdog website as well directly if you want to. But yeah, you can do that. Next up, I also built and had prepared a Dresden Files RPG. If you're not familiar with the Harry Dresden series of books, I've read them all, and there's a couple of them coming up, which kind of reinvigorated my interest in doing a campaign of this. I built a campaign based and centered around, at least starting in Texas, and that is around the Fate system, which there's a couple of books that have been done on the Harry Dresden. There's a big giant version of it, and then there's a Fate. It's not called Fate Light, but it's something like that. It's a lighter version of Fate that I chose to build this around, and I thought it'd be a heck of a lot of fun. So those are the things that I have in motion for role playing games. But I want to start with the one shots. Now, if you want, now I want to make, like, I have some friends that will come to this and do this for sure. I want them absolutely to come play these games with me. That's great. But I also want to get some diversity out of the community, and have people come in and say, yeah, I'd like to play these games. I'd like to, maybe, heck, you do a one shot with me, you see if you like it, then you can jump into one of the more committed ones. Um, but I really like I like to get the variety of personalities in these games, so that there's things like natural conflict that come up. Now, I'm going to tell you, when I run role playing games, and I'll preface this whenever I run them, that I don't, everything's off limits to me. It's kind of like comedy, and books. If you don't want to read about a certain thing, don't, or you don't want to watch a certain thing, or you don't like a certain type of comedy, then don't. But don't criticize it. It's all open to creativity and interpretation. So some of our now the Midderland ones, that's going to be pretty straightforward, fantasy based RPG. So is my Pathfinder game, though it's pretty kind of dark. But some of these one shots are going to be very adult, and I'm okay with that. I'm very happy with that. And again, what I'm going to do is try and list the types of things that will come up in the the role playing game. So if you're hypersensitive or just sensitive about these things or had a bad experience in your life that would be reflected in that, you don't have to watch it, but I don't want to restrict my players to not exploring all of those things as part of the creative experience. So anyway, I'm looking for people out in the community that would be interested in doing that. Please message me or just post here, that's fine. Let me know if that's something that you might be interested in. I'm not in a rush. I'll probably do the first one shot, like I said, in the first month or so, as I'm gathering resources and people to play some of these longer term RPGs. Um, the longer term ones now, that's going to be one of those things where it would be a few hours each week. It would need a ongoing commitment. So, if you don't think you can do that, please don't volunteer. But if you know you can make a ongoing commitment on the channel to playing a game, role playing game. Now, I can tell you, some people will tell you, and I haven't DM'd in a while, but back when I did, a lot of my friends would say that they truly enjoyed it. Some would say, and I don't like I mean, I'm kind of a humble guy. I don't really tout my own horn very much, but some would say I was probably one of the best GMs they had ever had. Things like that. It was we had a lot of fun, a lot of storytelling, a lot of creativity going on. But so I hope you would enjoy something like that. But I would need you to commit to a week. So the other thing is, and the one shots are good. We talked about this already. Good for people that can't make that kind of commitment. Um, and I would welcome people for that too. I want some real diversity, different men, women, different cultures, different backgrounds, different faiths, different philosophies. I mean, that's what makes a role playing game really fun. And that's where I'd like to go with that, especially for the one shots. And then lastly, you don't need to own the rules for these. I will be running them and I'll be walking people through setup. So especially with the one shots, like I said, I'm focusing on ones that don't require, they're either minimal setup or no setup type games where you can just maybe have a couple things that create a character and dive right in. Again, I don't want to say too much because I'll give away which ones I'm planning on by talking too much to it. But I want to keep them a secret because then it'll be a fun surprise when we get to the point where we start the game, right? And everybody will be like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that, or I was, and that's going to be interesting. But you don't need to own the rules for any of these. You just need to be able to participate. Obviously, with Midderlands OSR and Pathfinder second edition and fate-based systems, it would be good if you had the rules, but you don't have to. We can mitigate that and manage it through the tools that we have. And lastly, you may need to acquire some tools though if you don't already have them. Roll20, Zoom, in some cases maybe even tabletop or tabletop simulator, which you can get on Steam. None of these are expensive. In fact, Zoom, I would have to have a professional account so to be able to have the sessions go on long enough, but you wouldn't. And Zoom is such an easy tool to use that it's probably one of the highlights, I think, for being able to do this. Of course, you can do video right in Roll20, but in some of the one shots we won't be able to do that, or I wouldn't want to run them in Roll20. Anyway, that's it on RPG. So if you want to play an RPG with me and others, please let me know. Post it down below. Talk about it online. Send me some messages. Whatever. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. Like I said, I plan my first one shot in the next month or so. And lastly, we're going to talk about the Sanctum giveaway. So the contest officially ends on 4/25. Like I said, I was trying to kind of hold on to it just a bit so that I knew when we ended the contest, I could get it out to somebody relatively quickly. Shipping's a little hard right now, as you know, but I am going to give it away. Now, there are some rules around that. I'm going to tell you what those are because it's still open for another week. That gives you some time. And here are the rules. The basic rules to all of my giveaways on my channel is you must be a current subscriber or patron from Patreon. All my patrons are always entered. So if you are a patron of mine, you will be entered in every. You don't have to fulfill some of the other elements of it because if you're a patron, you're a subscriber, and you don't have to do some of the other things. You will be entered. And then I prefer that I say must be in the USA. I like shipping's tough outside of the US, right? So either even in the USA, some things are real heavy, and I might just ask if you'd split the shipping, maybe pay for the shipping, whatever. But outside the USA, if you win a game from me, I do require that the shipping be paid. So you can participate. Just know that I'm going to come to you and say it's going to cost $40 to ship it, which may be true. And some cases, like I had one game that it was. Madara, actually. I was giving away a copy of Madara, and somebody from another country won it, and the shipping was going to be more than the game. At least in the United States. I don't know if it would have been more of the game in their country, but in the United States. So those are the basic rules. Then the rule specific to this is I hit a message in the Sanctum playthrough. It wasn't hard to find. Pay attention through a couple episodes, you'll pick it up pretty quickly. Um, I've had a lot of people already guess it correctly, so I knew I wasn't making it too difficult. But to guess it, you're going to have to watch a few of the episodes. Bummer, I know. Watch some gameplay of Sanctum. It was a pretty good game, and it was enjoyable. So please, if you want to enter this, go watch some of those episodes and find the hidden message in there, and then send me what the hidden message is. Sending that to me, you can message me on YouTube, or you can message me on BGG, Board Game Geek. That's probably the best place to message me. That's where several other folks have done so, and some people just got my email and messaged me there too, which is fine. You can find that. I'm not going to say it because this is on open online. You can also go to the um, um, my website for this for uh, the game channel. And then also, uh, you must have sent the message with the hidden message prior to 425. So I'm going to cut it off on 424 so I can tally it on 425 and do the drawing and tell you who the winner is. So it ends. So I have to have everything in by midnight 424, let's say, if you want to participate, and it is still open. So that being said, guys, I want to thank you for this quick channel update. I don't know how long it's going to be. I didn't intend it to be incredibly long. It's like about 30 minutes, which is just about perfect for an update of this nature. And I sure hope you're enjoying the channel during this downtime. I'm trying to put up a lot of content for people so that they can continue to review and participate and have fun with it. But anyway, that is all I have to say for today. There's a lot more coming to the channel, but I'm really intrigued and interested in diversifying out and doing some role playing in the channel as well. So if that's something you're interested in, please step up and let me know. Don't be shy about it. I will help people who are new to role playing. If you're new to it, I'll help you to get into it. Just remember, it's acting, it's having fun, and it's creative. It's creative. So you don't have to. You don't have to have any special skills or anything for it. I certainly don't. I'm not a trained actor, and I just want to enjoy it, and it can be fun. And the first one, I guarantee, the first one is going to be a blast. The first one shot that I do. So please, it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything more because I don't want to give it away. But guys, thanks so much. I will talk to you in the next episode of something. And I appreciate all the subscriptions, likes, shares, subscribes, all that good stuff. Please continue to do that for me in the channel. I appreciate that. I appreciate your continued patronage and viewership. I don't say, I know I say it every time, but I really do mean that. It's important to me that the community gets something out of this channel. Otherwise, it's really not worth me doing. I don't really make any particular money on it or anything like that. So maybe a little bit to cover the costs of things that I do, like cameras and tools and stuff like that. But that's about it. Otherwise, just fun, and I enjoy doing it for you. And there was a time when I was going to make it a huge ordeal and try and go the way of Rodney Smith and other folks and make it a huge channel. But based on my real life world, I just can't always. That seems like a really difficult thing for me to do without help. So, and I don't have any help. It's just me. But anyway, guys, thanks. I will talk to you soon in another episode of something, and I hope to hear from you about doing some role playing games. So, thanks. Talk to you in the next episode. Take care. I'll see you soon.